Wow, man, the New York Knicks stormed back to win game 3 in Indiana after it was looking like all hope was lost by halftime, man. I'm talking about they're down 20. I stopped taking notes when there was a couple minutes left, like there was like 2.5 minutes left, something like that in the second quarter. They go into half down 20. I turn the game off. I'm thinking, oh, the series is over, the game is over, GG's. Um, but no, the New York Knickerbockers, man, they come back and they did what needed to be done and they won the game. And don't get me wrong, it was one a heck of an ugly win. It was an ugly, ugly, ugly win. But they did what needed to be done and they pulled out the win. And going into this game, the Knicks had never won a playoff game at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And then for a while there, it didn't look like they were going to win this one, and they ended up pulling this one out. I don't have a ton of notes from this game because, like I mentioned, I literally turned it off at halftime. I didn't watch the third quarter, so I don't have a ton of notes about the Knicks comeback. It was really when I was just kind of box score watching everything like that. My fiance had just got home. I was talking to her about blah 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 about like how she just like her day at work and everything like that. So I wasn't locked into the third quarter of this game at all. It wasn't even on in the background. I was literally box score watching, and that's a generous way of saying that I really wasn't even watching this game at all. I wasn't locked in. I was checking the score, everything like that, and I checked it at the beginning of the fourth, and I saw it was like a 10 point game, and I was like, hold on. I was like, hold on. I was like, so I turned it back on, and honestly, up until the last three possessions, I didn't have hope that the Knicks were going to win the game. Like I was more confident that the Knicks were going to sell that game than I was about them winning that game, and that's saying a lot considering the fact that the Knicks have been one of the best clutch teams in the playoffs. Like it felt like for the entire playoffs, they hadn't even lost a single clutch game until this series where they've lost two of them in a row. And I'm thinking, damn, dude, no way you're about to do all this. Fight back from 20. Cat gives you a freaking 18-point fourth quarter. All that you get all this fight, and then I was thinking, man, somehow, some way, Cat or JB or both are gonna foul out, or you're gonna miss a big shot, or you're gonna somehow allow for an Aaron Nesmith, Steph Curry performance to happen again, or like something's gonna happen that the Knicks are gonna lose this game, and they didn't. So props to the Knicks for winning the game. An ugly win in the playoffs doesn't really matter to me. A win is a win, and while I do believe that the Timberwolves win over the Thunder, I believe that that win gave me a little more hope in the Timberwolves than this win gave me in New York. But the one thing that I think saves this for New York that makes me think that this it's still possible that they win the series isn't just that they won, but it's that they were down 20 and they won. They made schematic changes, and while their schematic changes weren't as drastic as some of the schematic changes that a lot of people saw and that I saw with like the Thunder Timberwolves series, there were some schematic changes. Like first of all, starting Mitchell Robinson over Josh Hart, which was a move that I had mixed feelings about because on one hand, you look at it and you say Mitchell Robinson is their only good player off the bench in this entire series. He's really been the only guy giving you really any type of production anywhere off the bench in this series. But then you also think of it from the standpoint of, well, it makes sense because the numbers show you and the eye test shows you that the Knicks are better when both Cat and Mitchell Robinson are on the floor together. So might as well just start them, right? Which makes sense, and it ended up paying off in this game. And I'm not gonna say that that's the move that like won them the game or anything, because I do believe that Josh Hart, even though it was off the bench and even though he only hit one shot from the field, he had a phenomenal performance in this game. He did a lot of great things, and he still did Josh Hart things. So I'm not gonna say that that necessarily won them the game. Um, because like Mitchell Robinson himself, like he was a defensive presence and he was rebounding the ball. Like, he had some rebounds, but it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, they were dominant on the glass or anything like that. Like in fact, they lost the rebounding battle by one. But like early in the game, you could tell the difference. That they were definitely better on the glass. But then it was like Indiana caught right up. Miles Turner was getting boards. Siakam was getting boards, and the Pacers were just catching up to them in that rebounding department. And for a while, I was about to give an evisceration of Mikal Bridges' whole career, which I'm still going to do a little bit. Karl Anthony Towns was about to get 5 million bars from me, man. I was about to tell you to trade Karl Anthony Towns across to the Israeli team for Patrick Beverly, man. Like I'm telling you, I was about to say some absolutely insane things about Karl Anthony Towns after that first half. Jalen Brunson was about to get some bars from me too. Like everybody, the whole Knicks bench was about to get some bars from me after that first half. But they picked it back up. So some things that I want to give shout outs to. Miles McBride, you didn't have like your best game or anything like that. Like you missed a wide open corner three late in the game, and that was one of those moments where I was like, dude, the Pacers are going to win because it's like you have to hit that shot. Like you have to. Wide open corner three, like a minute left in the fourth. I don't remember what the score was at the time, but like I'm talking about there isn't anyone even on like damn near that side of the court with you. Like the closest guy to you is damn near in the paint. So missing that shot automatically, I'm looking at it, I'm just like, sometimes you just lose. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just aren't meant to win. But you ended up having a decent game, and while pretty much not, there wasn't much production, especially with scoring the ball off of the bench for the Knicks tonight and for this entire series. Really, I do think that you have been like a consistently okay bench player. Like you've been one of the few bench players who's been able to consistently get minutes in this game. And one thing I wanted to point out, I didn't think Cam Payne should have been getting minutes in the last game. Honestly, I haven't thought Cam Payne should have been getting minutes in the entire playoffs. I was damn near about to say he should be out of the league. So the fact that even with Jalen Brunson in as much foul trouble as he was for pretty much the entire night outside of the first quarter as he was in, and for Tom Thibodeau to still stick to it and be like, hey man, DeLon Wright's going to play in the first half, Landry Shamit's going to play in the first half, but I promise you Cam Payne won't touch the floor. Thank you, Tom Thibodeau, for making that decision, because honestly, I think you're probably going to get fired no matter what, because I do think you guys are going to lose this series. So I do think that I kind of do think he'll get fired. Because why was Cam Payne playing in the first two games regardless? But for you to actually come out in this game three and to stick to it, even though it would have been really easy for you to say, hey man, I'm going to put him in because we kind of don't have anything else right now, and Brunson's in foul trouble and Cat's in foul trouble, we just need bodies. I'm glad you didn't do that. So props to Tom Thibodeau for that. But one thing that I still see schematically that I have a massive problem with the Knicks, and I don't know if this changed during their comeback at all, because like I said, I didn't watch all of it. So let me know if y'all noticed this during their comeback, if this changed. But something I've been peeping throughout the series, and especially that I was keeping a really close eye on this game because I've been watching Aaron Nesmith really closely, defensively at least, is the way that the Knicks just allow switches. Like, I'm talking about, like, Tyrese Halliburton might be the best floor general in the NBA right now, and you're just, like, giving him exactly what he wants on the pick and roll, because whether it be Mikal Bridges on him, or OG Anunoby on him, or whoever, you are allowing him to get switches on screens where it's like you're playing in drop coverage or you're playing in whatever, and it's just these switches are either allowing for him to score or allowing for him to create offense for other guys. And it's been a theme this whole series, and especially in the first half of this game, it was really pissing me off, because then on the other end, I'm watching Aaron Nesmith, and you can't tell me they don't have the personnel. Mikal Bridges, you traded 5 first-round picks for the man, and he's a former Defensive Player of the Year runner-up. Buddy, I expect you to fight over 1 or 2 screens a night. OG Anunoby is making hella money, mostly for his defense. 90% of it is because of his defense. Buddy, fight over a screen. So I'm watching Aaron Nesmith come over here, and I'm watching him fight his ass off every time there is a screen, and he is fighting and fighting and fighting that screen to not allow a switch onto Miles Turner or Tony Bradley, or Tony Bradley, by the way, shout out, or Pascal Siakam. Why don't the Knicks do the same thing? Why? Now, I get they won this game, cool, whatever. You might say I'm overreacting, like, but I don't care. You were down 20, and a big part of that is because of the fact that you were not having guys fight through screens, and it was allowing them to get offense. Now, there was other things. You're turning the ball over. You're missing shots. You're taking bad shots. Jalen Brunson and Cat are missing a lot of time in the first half because they're both in foul trouble, and Cat can't hit a shot, and Cat's doing literally nothing productive for you in this entire game until the fourth quarter. So I get it. I understand there were other bigger problems in this game, but those are like individual things. Like, you don't expect for Cat and Brunson to both have that bad of a game, at least throughout the first 3 quarters of it, on the same night together. You don't expect that to happen again. So whatever. I'm ignoring that. Jalen Brunson had his worst game of the series. Karl-Anthony Towns had his worst 3 quarters of the series, and then his best quarter of the series in the fourth quarter. And he was obviously the MVP of the comeback. Josh Hart had some big minutes, everything like that. Like, you won the game. Please don't get me wrong. I see that and I recognize that. And there's, like I said, there's things. Like, you don't think Cat and JB are both going to play this badly in the same game at the same night in the playoffs again. So I'm not even focused on that part of this game, that part of why they got down 20 or whatever, because you just don't think that's going to happen again. But this has been a consistent, the not fighting through screens, and I think it's a schematic thing at this point. Like, it has to be a Tom Thibodeau thing at this point. Because, like I said, you have the personnel. And it's something that I think against Boston, I can't remember if they did the exact same thing where they were just allowing switches to happen, or if against Boston they were like, no, yeah, because against Boston they allowed switches to happen. Boston just wasn't taking advantage of it the way that Boston did in the regular season. And it's just like sometimes I'm like, dog, fight the screen. Fight it. Like it's you can do it. You have some of the best defensive players in the world. Fight the screen. Anyways, man, not too much analytic stuff to say in this video. It's more just like one of those, I'm glad the Knicks were able to pull out a win and at least make this an interesting series. Miles Turner hit a three. Tyrese Halliburton hit a three. TJ McConnell was their best player in the first half. I'm talking about that man was out there absolutely frying. It was just a mediocre game for the Pacers. Like, the Pacers, even when they were up 20, you saw that it was just like, they weren't playing exceptionally well. It was, well, their defense was good for some stretches. Like, their defense was really, really good for some stretches in that first half. But, like, you were looking at it, and even when they were up 20, you were like, it's not that the Pacers are necessarily playing extremely well. It's that the Knicks are playing worse than I've seen the Knicks play maybe the whole season, except for TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell was actually hooping his ass off. But, yeah, and then they couldn't hit a three. Like, they hit 5 threes as a team. That's not going to happen again. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't really have too much to say for the Pacers side of this. I want to see, because in the games where both teams were playing well, the Pacers won both of them. So this was just a time where the Knicks were desperate. They went down 20. They showed some fight, which is good for you if you're a Knicks fan. This gives you some hope as a Knicks fan. But to me, the Timberwolves win gave me more hope than this Knicks win did. And maybe that's delusion because all 3 of these games in the series have been close, whereas in the Timberwolves series, they've pretty much all 3 been blowouts or sizable wins one way or the other. So, I don't know. Maybe that's delusion or maybe that's just me liking, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's delusion. Maybe I'm correct. Maybe it's something out. Maybe it's hating. I don't know what it is. But not a good win for the Knicks, but a win's a win. So they win the game. Congrats to you. You finally pulled out a clutch game against the Pacers, which is something I was truly doubting your ability to do going into tonight. You finally win a game in Gainbridge Fieldhouse for the first time in franchise history, or a playoff game for the first time in franchise history in that building. Congratulations to you. And let me just say, Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, basically the entire Knicks roster saved themselves from me screaming my head off for 20 minutes tonight. So, good job. All right, love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Tomorrow we got a game 4 in Minnesota that I'm very interested for, and then I'm excited for game 4 in this series too because there is a world where both of these series go back to game 5 tied 2-2. There is a world. Now, I think that'll happen with the Timberwolves series where I don't necessarily believe it'll happen in this series, and the big part of that is the fact that the Pacers lost game 3 in both of their last 2 series as well after going up 2-0. So it's like, it's like, not that worried. Like, they did this twice before in these playoffs versus 2 pretty good teams. Like, you know what I'm saying? But this one's different, though, because in the other ones, they weren't up 20 at home, blowing the lead. So, whatever. But, yeah, the Pacers continue to be worse at home, especially Tyrese Halliburton, with scoring the ball than on the road, which is really interesting. But, yeah, man. Interesting night of hoops. Very interesting night of hoops, because I thought the Knicks were about to lose by 50 at halftime. So, yeah, all right. Peace out. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching, man. All glory to God as always. And, like, something I'm going to start saying because I need y'all to know it more. God loves you, all right? Keep that in mind always. All right, peace out, man.